That would be tragic. Okay. So I don't need that. Okay. Let me get the URL. So, okay. Copy. Okay. And then live stream URL. Is today? Oh. Mm, that is like a 2 minute delay. Mm. That's okay. Okay, so Carol, you gave me a bio for Kelly that's shorter.
Yeah, I just left the one we had
Okay.
and then added one of them that she had shared because she shared two.
2 minute delay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try to go live um now.
Okay.
And then if you need me, message me on WhatsApp. I'm out of email because it takes a lot of resources.
Okay.
Um, okay. 2 minute delay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I am trying to make sure. And if you need me, message me on live. I'm out of email because it takes a lot of
Okay.
apparently resources. The LinkedIn Live, for those of you that do LinkedIn Live, it will start to stream as soon as you're in the preview. So if you want to say anything that you don't want people to hear, don't do it if you have LinkedIn Live preview on because it's going to put all your business in the streets. So anyway, welcome. Happy Friday. I'm starting a couple minutes early, at least on my clock, because there's a little bit of delay on LinkedIn and I want to keep everything on schedule. I just want to say welcome to everyone that's here. Thank you for showing up on your Friday. I know you have choices and I know there are many places that you could be, but thank you for choosing to stop in with us. I want to pull up a couple of things because we are charting some interesting times right now. And there is a report that just came out with Better Up, and I want to show you, and I'll also drop the link to the report. This is talking about what's happening right now. And I'll drop the link before I forget. And this report is basically talking about what we're doing with AI is for some of us, we're just learning on our own. We're learning at night. It's kind of scary because this is supposed to be the biggest technological tool and revolution of our lifetime. But we're learning at night while we're watching TV at the end of long days, and it's a huge risk. Some organizations are starting to get training programs in place. There's many colleges and organizations that have, or universities that have curriculum now. And that's all great. But you cannot learn this alone. What happened to me is I was probably doing the same thing that many of you are doing and dabbling with AI 11 o'clock at night. The TV's on, everybody's asleep, and I accidentally learned something that turned on a light bulb for me. And I just thought, like, how many other people are doing the same exact thing where you're not really following a structure to learn? You're just like, let me see if it can do this. Let me see if it can do that. And when we do that, we start to build our confidence up, which is important, and build trust up in what's possible and what's not possible. And that is valid. But if we're only using AI to make our email sound better or to summarize our calendar for us, those are incremental changes. That's where we start. That's where all of us start. Where the power is and is when AI can transform how we work, our industry, how we solve problems. This report by Better Up is basically talking about the case for conditions on AI is only going to be as good as the humans that are running it. And The human in the loop is a term where there is no AI anything without us. We have to direct it. We have to navigate with it, refine it, go back and forth with it as a thought partner. And we have to ultimately decide if it's good enough that we're going to use it. There's no AI without us. However, organizations are just trying to learn and figure out how to increase their adoption, how to get an ROI. And this report is, and I dropped the link in the chat. This report is basically saying you have to invest in your people. And AI is only good as the skills that your people have. There's a lot of fear around this. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of uncertainty because we don't know how to guide people. Honestly, it's the first time we've done it. In this report, what I want to highlight in this report, which I think is important for us to understand, is there are low uses for AI and there are higher value uses for AI. When we have people that are disengaged, that's where shadow AI pops up, where I know how to use ChatGPT and I'm going to use it on my phone. And I also might use it at home. And I might even be using AI on my phone at work, but I'm not using the work system. Well, if I'm just going to put in a quick little email, there's a risk in that because I'm using my personal ChatGPT account and I really shouldn't be. But I might not understand the guardrails. I might not understand the guidelines. I'm just doing the best I can to get as much work done as possible. So it's not malicious. It's not intentional. It just is. But when we have people that are fearful or we have people that are disengaged, then the output is low. The value is low. The goal is that we have people that are calibrators. If we're automating things, this is what one of the things that AI is bringing to light is sometimes our data is not good. Sometimes our process isn't good. And sometimes the people that did the thing didn't do the right thing. It just is what it is. So AI is going to automate gaps and it's going to automate problems. And we're just going to do those problems faster. But if we don't have that lens of critical thinking and we don't have that lens of human judgment, we'll just let AI do it because AI is doing the task. In some cases, it can look at it and maybe give you some optimization or some analysis of it. And that's valid and great. However, automating processes, systems in unclean data or data that's not fully data that's biased, we can automate that easily, not realizing it's biased. There are so many case studies where this has happened, where we didn't have bad intentions. It just is what it is. So I want you, when you can take a look at the data in this report. This is also a use case for investing in training, investing in the humans that have to run AI. But I want to show you a couple of examples of how you can leverage AI so you can be an orchestrator. So you're not a user. You're someone that uses AI to orchestrate for you. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let me make sure that you guys can see my screen. Oh no, hold on. I just closed it. I can't see. You know, it's real time, not Memorex. All right, so let me share my screen. I just lightly want to touch on the fact that when I say that the human skills, the soft skills, are what makes AI powerful. It's our judgment, it's our critical thinking, it's understanding. Data literacy sounds technical. It's just understanding the data is good. Strategic planning, all of these things matter and are human and cannot easily be programmed. But let's talk about what people are rewarding when it comes to AI are better outcomes. Not a good prompt, not I can use the tool. It's can I get better outcomes? So I'm going to walk through 6 tools really quickly. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. We're going to put things in each system, but I'm going to show you how you can orchestrate these systems to work for you. Then we're going to go into Notebook and we're going to go into Lovable and Marbleism. So if I'm going into ChatGPT, I like to use ChatGPT today, subject to change at any point, for brainstorming. for ideating. So I am going to say, this is what I'm good at. I can explain complex things. I can make scary things seem human, seem attainable. And I want you to create 10 high impact roles or jobs that I could do with these skills. So it says these roles. It's like AI leadership coach for executive and directors. No, corporate AI enablement strategy. Maybe keynote speaker and workshop facilitator. I love to train. I love to teach. I like that. Head of AI literacy. I don't want to be the head of anything. AI sales enablement. I'm going to look at this list, decide what I like, and move forward with another list. Now, what I'm going to do at the end of this is I'm going to tell ChatGPT I'm going in Gemini. I don't want to do research here. I don't trust the chat doesn't hallucinate because it does. So if I'm making decisions on my career or my business, I'm not doing it in chat. I'll use it for certain things. So I'm telling chat, give me a prompt to put in Gemini to do deep research. This is the idea I like. I'm going to select deep research and I'm going to paste this prompt. And right now you can use fast mode. So this is a little bit old. You don't have to worry about thinking. Gemini is going to say, here's the research that I'm going to do. I'm going to look at this. 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 The goal is to identify, is this thing that I'm really excited about doing actually something that people will pay for? Are they going to pay me to show up and talk about this thing that I love? Because I don't know. Uh, Gemini is going to do research and it is going to read all of these different websites. When it's reading these websites, it's not doing anything differently than what I would do as a human. It's just doing it faster. Anytime we've gone to Google search and we've said, hey, I want to find a dry cleaners near me, open past 7 that doesn't use chemicals, and I want to see the reviews. And it gives me a list of things to read. The first site might be good, but maybe it's not even in my state because I didn't say where I was. And the second site is trash. I don't even know how I got here. The third site, it's doing that same process faster. What it's also doing, though, is it knows what sites are good and what sites aren't good. So it's kind of streamlining that process for me. It gives me a 24-page research report on whether or not there is a demand, how much people will pay, how I can actually go into the market to do this thing that ChatGPT actually gave me the idea about. All I need to know are my skills and my gifts and my talent. So I'm using ChatGPT to come up with an idea, go back and forth. Then I'm saying, okay, I'm done. Thank you. I want to go into Gemini and do research. I don't want to do the prompt though. You know what Gemini is, and you know that I want to do research. You do the prompt, and it just saves me time. Now that I have this, I'm going to save it and I can put it. Listen, all of these things are in this report. It's giving me different options, different strategies. Now I want to take this. I don't want to read it. I do not have time. I want to take this and I want to go into Claude and I want to say, here's my research. Here's what I'm thinking about doing. I want you to read it. I want you to give me a strategy and I want you to tell me how I can go to market with this, like for real. And oh, by the way, I only have 2 hours a week. Don't give me something based on 20 hours. I don't even know if I have 2 hours, but give me a plan for the most meaningful things that will move me forward in 2 hours. But I want to do this thing. Claude does that for me. Now, I can go back and forth with AI. I'm not trusting that this is the only way. If anything is misaligned or if anything doesn't feel like it's a good fit, I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to refine in AI because I want it to learn what I like, what I don't like, all those things. So now I have two things. I have three things. I have an idea that we finalized in ChatGPT. I have research, a research document that is 24 pages long with all of the links to all the websites that research came from. I now have a strategy in Claude, and I'm going to hop over to Notebook. I'm going to go to Notebook and I'm going to say, and actually I told Claude, I'm going to put all this stuff over in Notebook. I'm going to upload files. I can point to a YouTube video. It can look at that as a source. It can go to my Google Drive. It can go to other websites. and I'm building a small little LLM. An LLM are like encyclopedias. It's just information. ChatGPT, just a lot of encyclopedias. Claude, a lot of encyclopedias and a different way of looking at things. Notebook is the same thing. I'm saying, here's my Claude strategy. Here's my deep research from Gemini, and I want to create some assets. So let's look at what that looks like. Over here is my data, my research in my little mini brain. And then here I can interact with the data. I can ask questions. I can say, hey, did you see anything about this? And then I can create stuff. I can create an audio, I can create a mind map, I can create a video, I can create an infographic, I can create a quiz. It can create a whole slide deck, a whole deck. So let's do some things. I'm going to turn, I'm going to create an audio. Sounds like a podcast. People are having a conversation. I'm going to create a mind map. I'm going to create a slide deck. Here's the mind map. Now, I don't use mind maps. Some people love it. I like to see everything. And for me, I don't like these perpetual screens that never end. It's just not my thing. I don't like it. You might love it. Then I'm going to also create an infographic. An infographic. My stick people look crazy. There's no way that I could ever create anything that looked good. Then I'm going to create a whole presentation. A presentation. And it talks about, it's comparing me to Wharton. And it says, oh my gosh, Marley Donami, you can train people. You can give them AI certifications. And you're in your own category next to Wharton. Now, this is giving me a way that I can distill the information that Google Gemini gave me, that Claude gave me, that are amazing. And I should probably read it. However, why? If this can just give me a summary, I can scan what the most important parts are and decide what I want to do, what I don't want to do. Look, it's giving me ways to scale. It's telling me how much revenue I could possibly make. It's telling me what I need to do in day 1 to day 30 and day 30 to day 60 in the time that I have. It doesn't mean I use this. So now let's go into, I'm not going to play, this is the audio. I'm not going to play that. But now let's go into Lovable. I went back into Claude and I said, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do it. And I need you to give me a whole website. I'm not a copywriter. I'm not a graphic designer, but I am a person that has a skill that apparently is valued in the market. But I also am not a website person. So give me the copy to build a website. So check this out. Lovable allows me to give a system an idea, and the system builds it and makes it a thing. So what I'm going to do is I gave it a prompt and it said, I like this website. And I actually gave it an image of me too. Your team has tools. Now build the humans to run them. 92% of companies are investing in AI. Only 1% feel ready. This is data. And this is good. Like I could actually use this on my website. Lasting transformation. 30 years at the intersection of human potential and technology. It's crazy. Crazy. It built a whole website. Now I can go into Marbleism. Now I'm working. I want to do this on the side. I do not have a team. I do not have a budget for a team. So I want to introduce you to Marbleism. Marbleism is a Gentech AI where it's using agents, but the agents are playing roles of employees. So I have an executive assistant and she's in my inbox all the time. She's in my meetings. She's here right now. And I don't think I can show her. No, I can't show her. She's here. So she looks at my calendar. She looks at emails and says, hey, this person wants to reach out. These are the times that are available, and puts it in a draft mode. I ultimately decide if I want to use it or not. And I had to train her. I didn't have to do a lot though. There are other systems like this that require more onboarding. For this one, like for my social media, I connected it to LinkedIn and that was it. For my blog writer, I connected it to my website and that was it. Like, but and I did the same thing. I connected my executive assistant to my calendar and my email. Well, at first, she was trying to book appointments with everybody, all times of the day. And I had to train her and I said, I don't do calls on Monday and Friday. I only do calls from 10 to 2. But she didn't have that training. I didn't give her the context. But what I want you to understand is these agents are AI and they're working on my behalf. Stan is looking for leads, looking for people that fit a profile that may want to hire me for the thing that we just came up with. Now, I can reach out to them on email. There's a legal associate and there's a receptionist. The receptionist actually sets up a real phone number and answers. And you can say, if they say they want this, forward it to my cell phone. But it's a number that I can use for my business without giving my personal cell phone number to see if I even want to do this thing. This is today what I can do with AI. So I showed you all that to say you can do all of this stuff for free. You don't need to break the bank. You can do enough for the free versions of all of these things. Lovable, there is a fee. There's a free version, but you just can't do much. And for Marbleism, it's $250 a year for 6 employees for as many businesses as you have, or as many brands as you want to build. Or I have one for my son, my daughter, my husband, and myself. I want to do that before they figure it out. So let me go back. I am at time. I am so excited that you all are here because today is an incredible celebration for people that I've worked with for the last 3 months as part of our certification program, which is making sure that we are doing everything we can to stay ahead of what's coming when it comes to AI. So what I'd like to do, it is 11:20 on my clock, and I want to introduce the amazing Dr. Maxine Ruddock. So Maxine, Dr. Maxine, if you can come to the stage, let me make sure.
Okay,
Hi,
am I on stage?
you're on stage. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, Bethany.
Fantastic. So let me introduce Dr. Maxine really quick, and then we are going to get into. Let me make my screen got really big real quick. I don't know how that happened. So Dr. Max Ruddock is a licensed psychologist, leadership strategist, and entrepreneur who helps high achieving women identify and overcome the internal patterns that impact how they lead, work, and live. She's a graduate of the AI Global Agent of Change program, and she is particularly interested in the intersection of psychology, leadership, and artificial intelligence, and exploring how AI can help people not only work more effectively, but also gain insight into themselves and the way they navigate change. And I think that AI is probably pressing all the buttons to what is really going on with us as leaders and us as people and women. I think as you've probably in your work, Dr. Max, um, we got a lot. We always have a lot. So I'd love to understand from your perspective as a psychologist, what first caught your attention about AI?
And just understanding how, as women, we tend to be so overburdened. We tend to have the responsibility for so many things. We walk in our daddy's shoes, but we still wear mommy's aprons, right? And so, one of the things that I recognized that as women, we were still struggling under the burden of not having the team or the resources to sort of kind of get to where we need to get to. And then I recognized that AI was going to change that game. Right. And I recognize that a lot of the things that we were missing as women, even just being able to have someone to talk to, because when, especially as women, when we are charged with the responsibility of taking care of the family, and even we take that with us even into the workplace. right? And so what AI did is it actually helped us as women to create a team. Even if financially you can't afford it, AI will allow you to create a team. So I noticed that with AI, we can actually improve our productivity as women. But also, one of the things I noticed with AI is that women were afraid to approach it because there were some characterological things going on with women that was impacting their ability to benefit from AI, their fears, their confidence levels, life experiences, all of those things were like impacting their ability to integrate and adopt into AI. So I've just been paying attention to that and trying to step into that forum and help women to actually comfortable integrate AI into their world.
So, what are you noticing specifically about women with AI adoption?
Their characterological aspects are showing up, the fears that they have, the sense of, I need to have it all together before I can become a part of this process. Those things are impacting women's ability to show up and to sort of confidently contribute to the development of AI. And so, as a psychologist, I have been helping women to sort of pay attention to those underlying unconscious processes because those are affecting their ability to show up with a technology that they really need to be sitting at that table.
This matters so much to me. I just I, I hope that my experience in the workplace was was not typical, but I fear that it probably was, where everything is so hard for us and getting resources and getting support just seems like it's harder. So I would love to know, why do you think it's important right now that women are participating in the AI movement?
First thing I want to say is women, AI is a planetary human-based movement. You are half the planet. You need to be at this table. This is going to make changes, whether you're a part of it or not, it is. So why not be a part of it? If we already acknowledge that AI is happening, then why not shape it? So it's very important for women to understand this thing is going to touch you now. If it doesn't touch you, it's going to touch your children, it's going to touch your grandchildren. So why not come to the table and ensure that you are a part of a product that actually betters humanity?
And I think, I don't know if women realize right now there's data, and it's new. Some of the data is brand new, but there's data that's saying that women are the slowest adopting demographic. And it's different abilities, different genders, different identities. We can't be at the bottom of this list. Like, we cannot be at the bottom of this list. And when we think about our perspective and how important that our perspective is brought into these conversations, there's whole strategies being shaped without us. There's,
Absolutely.
it, I mean, we
We can't
cannot.
allow it. Yeah. We see what happens when changes occur without us being at the table. We see what happens. Everything that you fear happens because you weren't at the table. So the thing that I try to tell women leaders is this: feel the fear, it's natural. We all experience fear and change. Feel it, but fight through it. Show up at the table. Come and tell them that this is my fear. This is what I'm concerned is going to happen. You're contributing by inserting your fear. That will make some people think about things that they probably never thought about. So for women, I'm saying just show up. No one's asking you to show up perfectly, but we are asking you to show up.
How can, I think I heard you say this, that AI can also act like a mirror. How, what do you mean by that?
One of the things I was noticing, and this is just a little bit personal for me because I started noticing it with me personally. Like, I am a tech girl, right? And then I sort of married a tech guy and I kind of pushed the tech over to him. And then we produced tech boys, right? And so somewhere in there, I lost that. And so when AI began to become very big in the world, I noticed that for myself, right? Because I start with self-reflection and then I move outwards. I noticed for myself when I was using it that I would push through and not necessarily ask for help all the time because I'm thinking AI is going to judge me. It's going to be like, girl, why are you asking that question? You should know that. Yeah, PhD, what are you doing? And I started recognizing that AI became a mirror. It began to show some characterological aspects of myself. And so then I turned, as a psychologist and researcher, I started sort of doing like an informal sampling of people and asking them. And a lot of women were saying that to me. They were saying, I would notice that AI could actually do this, but I would push through and tell myself I have to do it, that I have to figure it out. And there was almost like a little shame associated with it, right? Because I should know these things. And what is AI going to think of me? And then I started saying, think about that reflection and recognize that that's probably how you are behaving inside of board meetings, inside of staff meetings, those underlying unconscious things that AI is pulling from you. I promise you, those are the things that some of the things that are actually stopping you from moving forward. So use AI, work through the anxiety of it, right? Make the mistake. Who's judging you? AI is not judging you, right? Because there's two things, Bethany, that I recognize: faith and fear, two muscles. You got to exercise one for one to be stronger, right? So if you can hold those fears and sort of exercise them through AI and develop a faith in yourself, that will become the mirror that you now reflect to the world and become the person you want to be.
So you make it sound easy, but I also would like if we can have a quick conversation about um, some cultures and organizations don't support us being safe to fail or make mistakes. And some of us have trauma from the past that we carry with us, whether we realize it or not. So, on one hand, it sounds great to be like work through the fear, but it's also very scary to work through fear. So, how do you, if anybody can answer this question, I know I'm going off script, I apologize. Anybody can answer this question, it's you. And I think it's an important part of the conversation if you're okay with having it. Um,
Absolutely.
that how am I supposed to navigate this when I'm not safe in our world
Mhm.
and I have to show up at work like I cannot make mistakes? How am I supposed to be okay with the fear?
So one of the things I want to do, Bethany, is I'm going to break fear down into two components. We're going to do the structural fear, right? That's objective and outside of you. That's the work setting, right? And then we're going to talk about the internal, right? Personal fear. So let me start with the structural fear first, right? So structural is built into your workplace, the limitations that people place upon you. I love the serenity prayer. God help me to identify the things that I can change, the courage to change the things I can, right? And the patience to accept what I can't. You first have to know those things, right? So let's say your job has a limitation on you adopting AI. It doesn't stop you from joining a group like yours, Bethany. Right? There are lots of venues that you can actually begin to integrate it. Even if you are unable to implement it, it doesn't stop you from integrating it and having knowledge. They can't take knowledge. No one can take knowledge from you. You can go out and you can train yourself in it. You don't have to, if that structural setting prevents you from implementing the things that you have learned, then go into other settings and make the change there. The understanding is this: personally, find out what you can do. If it is an internal fear that's going on, and it, of course, like you said, it could be also tied to trauma. You cannot see trauma on your own. You can try, but you won't. It's like the helicopter view and you walking through the forest. You'll never be able to see as clearly as the person in the helicopter. So I always encourage people, go among someone or among people who are willing to help you to sort of examine that internal. Myself as a psychologist, I'm trained to see that. So I always tell people, if you find out that it's not a structural thing, right? Because I've showed you how you can bypass the structural. But if you find out that it's internal, in the same way you're going to bypass and find help or a community, go and find training, go and find there's self-help books, and there's also professionals like myself that will help you to understand whatever that deep dive trauma is that's preventing you from internally moving with this concept of change. Because at the end of the day, AI just reflects change. And therefore, what we're going to ask is, how do I interact or how do I respond to change?
So, do you feel like there's more pressure on leaders now than in the past? And is AI contributing to that?
I think. that the pressure, I don't know if I would qualify it as more. I would
Mm.
qualify it as different, right? Because leaders always have pressure, one way or the other, because the world is changing. There's always some pressure to adapt to it. So, what we want to do is look at the unique pressures that AI has brought into the world. One of the concerns is it's going to take over from me, right? Or AI is going to take over my job. And so, leaders often think about that. Am I leaving myself out of a job, or am I leaving a technology that's actually going to enhance my job? Those are the fears once again. AI, even though it has been here for a while, is still within if I were to look at it even as a brain, the neuroplasticity portion of the brain, right? So you have the ability to build in a lot of safeguards into AI. But the one thing I want to tell human beings is this: technology can improve your productivity, but not your connectivity. That's not how that works. Connectivity is based on humanity, so that will never change. So, one of the things I want to say is feel the fear, but then begin to go into problem solving mode for the fear. But also recognize this: humanity is necessary for the development of humanity. AI can never change that.
Okay. So what has AI taught you anything about leadership?
Yes. One of the main things it's taught me, because I work with a lot of women leaders. And so just looking at how women struggle to overcome some of the imposter symptoms, some of the characteristics that show up, AI has taught me that women, number one, need to remember we are still half the planet, right? And we are a powerful team and a powerful unit. When you look at the data, and my son actually reminded me of this, he says, Mommy, when you look at civilizations, the best civilizations, the most wholesome civilizations show up when women show up at the table. So we must remember that thing. The other thing that AI has taught me about leadership is this. Again, it can enhance it, but it cannot replace it. And so, one of the things that you must remember is if you don't become a part of, you cannot lead. You cannot leave if you're left behind. So, if you don't go and sit at AI, you will be left behind. So, for leaders, arrest the fears, feel it, but arrest it, move through it. Remember that you're not the only one, right? We're all still learning AI. I mean, even the developers of it are showing up and saying, oh, we didn't expect this to happen. So we're all still learning, right? And remember that it is ultimately the human connectivity. It is a sense of acceptance and remembering that we as a whole are trying to figure this out that should give you the confidence that none of us have it. None of us have it all figured out. So show up to the table and let's figure it out together.
So if you could distill down to one lesson that you hope women leaders take away from this conversation, what do you want them to be thinking about from what we talked about?
AI is here. Yeah, it's here. And we can pretend it's not, and we can allow other people to craft the future, and our fears are more likely to happen then. Or we can show up afraid, we can show up anxious, we can show up insecure, we can show up uncertain with an understanding that even despite all those feelings, we are still half this planet. Look at what we've done as women. Can you imagine abdicating your role as half a planet with something? AI is a planetary, it's going to have a planetary impact, and you're half the planet. Why sit out and let only one half the planet make those decisions? So, for me, what I'm encouraging people, not just women, right? But of course, I focus on women, but not just women. I'm saying everybody show up. Students that say to me, oh, it's destroying the earth. Great. I'm glad you're thinking about it. Sit at the table and tell people that. If you're worried about the water, sit at the table and tell people that. Fear only becomes big when you run from it. But if you bring those fears to the table, you and everyone else will create something that will actually mitigate those fears, and you become an integral part of a process that is going to change this planet.
And how does the human connection still remain intact, though? Because I feel like it doesn't feel very human sometimes. And I think that's where people are fearful. That's where I think a lot of fear comes from is what is this going to do? What is this going to mean for humanity and the connection that we have as people?
Well, one of the things I want to say to people is People are already here. We're here. We don't need to create that, right? We just need to remember that we're always going to be in the loop. It's technology. The technology is not creating itself. People are creating it. So you're still an integral part of the process. So just remember that, and just remember that a lot of the things that we worry about that I've seen where they have where someone has the AI diary and the AI girlfriend and things like that, but there are neurobiological processes that AI cannot touch. Those things only show up in the context of human to human connection. It is the one integral thing that we have found in psychology that is the one thing in all across all theories that implements change, it implements healing, it implements growth. So I'm going to say we can use AI as an adjunct, but remember always the central thing is human beings.
Mm, yes. So, what does it mean for you to be an agent of change? What does that mean for you?
Well, I will say that what it has done for me, because Bethany, I sat in on your course, and it was not a surprise, but a refreshing reminder of the power of humanity, going back to the question you asked earlier. Inside that training and to become an agent of change, because yeah, I'm sitting at that table. Um, inside that, I began, the psychologist was there, and so I'm studying all the various personalities and kind of looking at it. And I saw the ones who were a little bit hesitant and the ones who became sort of tried to fade in the background. But what I noticed that it was the human component, not the technological aspect that brought people out. It was the sense of safety. It was the sense of security of someone saying to you, it's okay, we're all humble and we're vulnerable and we're making mistakes. It was the human capacity and qualities that showed up in the room that magnified the people's willingness to take a chance, to try and fail and laugh about it and take it as a lesson and not as a loss. So again, it was just a refreshing reminder that though AI can improve efficiency, it is the human connection and capacity that builds the human ability to actually train AI in the way it needs to be trained.
Can we talk about psychological safety? And I think psychological safety was one of those corporate buzzwords that seemed to matter for a while and then kind of fizzled out. But I do think, what are your thoughts on how important safety is now in the workplace with AI?
Psychological safety is always important. We can change the vernacular and we can change the terminology, but we're still saying the same thing. It is the ability for a human being to understand that their nervous system, right? So there's no trauma response. They don't want to flee. They don't want to fight. They don't want to do any of those things because they feel okay, even in an uncertainty, creating an environment that allows someone to do that. That's psychological safety. Now, of course, one of the things that we worry about is our ability to provide for ourselves, right? And if you think that AI is going to come for your job, then that's going to impact psychological safety. Here's what I'm going to say to you. It may come for this job, but it can't come for all jobs, right? But the
Mm,
one thing that's going to happen is if you don't show up at the table, if you don't show up at the table and learn what this thing, and AI has been here, if you don't show up at the table, then that psychological safety is taken away from you because then you begin to feel like you're powerless, but you're not. You're not powerless. We have survived a bunch of technological changes before. I don't know about y'all, but I remember when, not that I remember when computers, right? Because I'm not that old, but I'm just saying, I remember when when they were using computers more and people were like, it's going to take our jobs. It's going to, no, what it does is it changed the job,
right.
right? And change is an inevitable part of the human condition. So AI is just one more change. We've survived as humanity, all these changes. We will survive this too. The thing that I'm inviting you is in the beginning of the process, when it's time to craft it, show up at the table and help to craft it too. That will help some of the fears later on. Why? Because you were able to have your voice heard and your voice heard and your voice heard. So in the middle of creation, you mattered.
Mm. Dr. Maxine Ruddick. If you don't know her, you should know her. I told her at the very beginning, I was like, everybody needs a Dr. Maxine in their life. If you have questions for her in LinkedIn Live land, you have to tag her because after today, she won't see it. If you have any questions, reach out to her directly on LinkedIn. You can find her contact information in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of this. You've enriched it and made it better, and I'm so grateful that we had a chance to get to know you.
Oh my gosh, Bethany, thank you for the opportunity. And I just want to give a shout out to Bethany. Let me tell you, like I told her in our last thing, I'm not a fan girl, but I'm a faith-filled girl. And so I recognize when God has attached me to someone who is moving in the direction that's going to magnify my purpose. I encourage leaders to have mentors and other trainees, and I do the same. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid, right? If I'm not selling the Kool-Aid, if I'm not drinking it. So, Bethany, I'm just saying to you, just even thank you for, because some of the things that I said about the confidence and things like that, it's really easy as a leader to get very tunnel vision and change comes in. You're like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. But I want to thank you for creating this space. And, one of the things I've said to you, Bethany, she'll be like, well, and she means it, right? And so that space that you create, I just want to say to everyone, if you don't see, well, see her, because I'm telling you, this woman right here, this woman of God, she's going to help to actually create other leaders, and from that leader, so her touch is going to be magnified. So I'm just saying, Bethany, thank you because you've poured into me, and I appreciate you a lot for even
Thank
giving me
you.
this opportunity on this platform.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. Where is Miss Kelly Francis? I saw her. I know she is here. If Kelly, you can come up to the stage, if you can turn your video on, I would love to introduce you to the family. Everyone, I want to welcome. Hello.
Hey there.
How are you?
I
Okay.
am fabulous, thank you.
Fantastic. So I want to introduce everyone to Kelly. And Kelly Francis is the managing director and founder of Performance Solutions Limited. Kelly Francis is a senior organizational strategist and corporate governor who leverages 30 years of human resources expertise to drive board level oversight, organizational resilience. And as the founder of Performance Solutions Limited, Kelly has spent 25 years advising boards and C suite executives on the intersection of human capital, regulatory compliance, and commercial performance. Her HR expertise is a cornerstone of her governance portfolio. She specializes in high stake areas that are critical to board level risk management, including executive succession planning, workforce investigations, and organizational restructuring. She provides boards with both the technical depth required to oversee complex employee relations and the cultural assessments, ensuring that the social and the governance obligations are met with practical, commercially grounded solutions. Kelly's background as a global leader such as Ernst & Young, IBM, Johnson & Johnson allows her to bring sophisticated international perspectives to her Bermuda-based organizations. She's a pioneer in practical application of AI to business operations using emerging technology to increase speed and quality of the organizational decision making. She has a Master of Science in Industrial and Organizational Psychology from the Stevens Institute of Technology, and she's a certified leadership development succession strategist. She's also a member of the Bow Collective. I'm going to be in Bow one day. And International Women's Forum Bermuda chapter, and is dedicated to advancing board diversity and sustainable growth through expert human capital management. Y'all, first of all, Kelly is amazing. And I'm so excited that she's here. And she's humble in that she's been in business 26 years and has clients that I don't know what they're going to do if she ever retires because she's the person that everybody needs Kelly and nobody ever wants to let go of Kelly. So welcome. And I'm so excited that you're here to talk about business, life, and AI. So
Well,
let's
thank
get
you.
started.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the introduction. I'm like, who is that person she's talking about?
You, that's you.
But it's true. I have been in this space for quite a while now, running my business. I do love what I do. I was talking to somebody yesterday and I was like, I'm still fortunate that I wake up excited, which is fantastic. And my latest love is AI. And having gone through this program with you has been transformative because I was enjoying it and playing with it, but I was playing so small. And it has now exploded for me. But the unintended consequences, which was what I want to talk about, are real and they creep up on you. First of all, it's saving you time, but this thing is costing me money because I'm there banging out stuff. And our model has always been like lawyers, we charge based on time spent. And all of a sudden, I was like, where are the numbers? We've done all this work. Where are the numbers? And I realized that we were still focusing on time spent versus value of output. And that is a big, big shift when you've been tracking to the quarter hour for 26 years. So that is the conversation I'm in now, looking at how do we transition. There's some firms out there, including a law firm, who are doing some really interesting things. Where I had a talk with a lady last week, and they have never, even though they're a law firm, they have never done time charges. They have more of a membership approach where their clients buy credits and everything is based on output. They have X number of credits, which gets you Y number of things, and you buy bundles of credits. And that's how. So nobody in her firm has to track time. They just have to focus on output, which was mind blowing for me. So that's one of the first things that really hit me. I was like, oh, I have to pay attention not just to what I'm building and creating in AI, but what are those ripples? So that started my sort of road of thinking. But it's not just revenue. It's development, it's delegation, it is bringing those behind me, certain things that I would normally spend time walking over and showing somebody and letting them grow, letting them stumble. All of a sudden, I'm like, I can just bang this out, you know. So, and now, but if you do that enough, you've lost your future leaders. They're not having that journey of learning. So it's really been an interesting dichotomy. On one hand, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm able to do so much more. On the other hand, I'm seeing where if I don't pay attention, it could have a negative disruption to the business as well. So that's sort of the space I'm in right now.
And I think it's interesting because at the end of the day, your clients pay you for better outcomes. But we've been
Absolutely.
conditioned, even if we go back to school, we're conditioned like an hour is a subject, and then we go into work, and it's like an hour. Here's an exchange of $1 for an hour of your time. And the same thing happens with business, but the value. I've had this conversation with someone, and the objection was, you charge $1,500 an hour? Yeah, you're not paying me for an hour. You're paying me for 30 years of learning what I've known to get you there faster. There's value in that. But it's a shift of our mentality. Like it's a shift, and we have to understand the value of what we do, which I think sometimes we struggle with, really knowing how much that's worth to other people because we're like, "Ooh, that's a lot." Yeah, but look at the value you deliver. The
Absolutely.
amount of
I
money
got,
they save, the amount of money time they save.
yeah, I got schooled by the vet the other day. I have a little dog and he was having a little issue where he had dryness, let's just say, that was causing him some distress. So I call the vet, they come to the house and everything, pull out a tube of KY jelly, squirt, and it's done. And then I get a bill for $185. And I call up, I'm like, it was 3 minutes and jelly. And she's like, but I knew to do that. I was like, let me get my debit card. Say no more. But it's that. It is the value of the knowledge. And it really transcends everything. But anyway, back to the topic of this. The other thing that I'm noticing is my goal, and as we talked about in some of the sessions we had, is to sort of start thinking about exit plan, thinking about a smaller work life, transitioning to a 4-day week, all these lofty goals that I have. But because of the efficiency that you get with AI, it's always, oh, I can just bang out this one more thing. I can just do this one more thing. And then it's a 10-hour day, 11-hour day, because it's like the productivity has become easier in a way, to at least get those initial things launched that might take me longer usually. So I'm doing more and I'm more inclined to keep going. So I'm actually working longer weeks right now than I was before your course. So I'm going to blame you. So, so that's something that I am definitely also having to manage. And that I think really then goes back to the delegation issue. You know, you can't, you have to learn now different ways to delegate because it's so easy to just, rather than get up, take something, send a file, have the meeting explaining things. So without the delegation, I am now keeping doors closed to advancement and growth. And that is counter to everything I do for all my clients. So I've got to look internally and see, you know, what I can do now to force myself or encourage my team to make me still do what I used to do. So it's a really interesting time.
And I think we're learning because we're not only delegating and trying to do better delegating because we're probably very similar. We're like, I can do it faster than if I explain it.
Right.
And now we have to start to think about, can we delegate and automate? And how do we manage that? So we're managing machines and people and trying to do it's a lot to balance and a lot to juggle. And I think we have to remember to give ourselves grace because we've never done this. We've never done this, including
No.
you, including me. So when we're learning these things together. And that's, I think, also the trust that you have with customers is just as we are learning, they don't know either. So, but you know more than many people do.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a fun time. I mean, I think there's often people get the view that as you grow in your career and everything, you stagnate on the learning. And this has just ripped the band-aid off of that. And it has really just allowed us to learn and experiment in ways that, a couple of years ago I wouldn't have thought of. So it's definitely it's a good time in that respect. But anyway, I've been doing a lot of talking. Did you have any questions specifically that you wanted me to talk about?
Um, no, I guess I always am curious as to as you bring on your teams to work less and do less, how do you think this fits in your traditional work process that you've done in the past where you delegated, you have junior staff that you're bringing on board? Has that changed now with AI, how you're going to work with them?
Absolutely. It's changed. I mean, we've had some real tangible shifts for in my business. One on the administration side, our billing cycle used to be 5 days. It was, we printed out a massive Excel spreadsheet. I went through that. Then my administrative assistant would cobble things together in sort of the billing language. Then I would review all of the bills, and then she would make all the edits, and then we go back and forth, back and forth. After I started this course, I worked with chat. I think I began with, and came up with a set of instructions. Now I can take the raw data, it spits out the draft language, I plug it in to the spreadsheet, and we're down, and then my accountant can send out the bills. So we have dramatically shrunk that down. But now the administrative assistant can spend time supporting whether it's go chasing in the most nice diplomatic way, looking, helping with other metrics and things like that. So she can use her time in a way that's more meaningful than an administrative grind. That's one example for, say, a junior HR person. One of the biggest learning centers is recruitment because everything in HR stems from people walking through the door, every aspect of it. So we always start training with recruitment. And before you running an advertisement, looking at the candidates, looking at their requirements, looking at their background, being discerning, distilling, looking for green flags, red flags, all of that. Now you can upload the ad, extract the experience section, and they will point out pluses and minuses in 30 seconds. And the person's not learning that discernment. So that's an example of one where we still need the human in order to learn because you are making decisions about humans. So that's one where I'm trying to resist the ease that can be used come from the AI.
So, Kelly, can I ask you a question that's more about your work?
Mhm.
You do governance, risk, human capital. All these are big, um, could be big problems in boards
Mhm.
and organizations. What are you excited about, or what are you a little bit cautious about when it comes to AI? Because now this is a whole new level of risk, exposure, governance with AI. So what are your thoughts on what makes you excited or keeps you up at night when you think about it through the lens of your clients?
I guess a couple of things. One is with everything happening so fast, not knowing what you don't know is one thing, but also knowing that, you can build something that gives you alerts every morning on what's going on and things to be aware of is great. But then the thing that keeps me up at night is then which clients are vulnerable and where are they on their policies? And do they understand that unlike normal HR policies that can be revisited annually, AI policies are going to have to be done multiple times a year because nothing about it is static. So I think it's the protection side and the lack of awareness around the vulnerability when it comes to uh, people people policies and how they can disconnect because there's so much information, but then there's a lack of really critical, relevant information. Like take agents for a minute, not downloading certain things onto your computer versus having the little side thing that keeps them outside of your system. People get excited about the, oh my goodness, did you know I can have somebody who totally does all my stuff for me and I just watch them doing the emails? Well, do you also realize that they could also be going deeper and deeper into your system if you don't have those protections? So there's a lot of top level gloss and excitement. And then there is a whole well of unknown. And even if you have a slight awareness, it's so much bigger than what people realize as far as what you need to pay attention to. Getting the right prompt is like a dopamine hit. When you get that output for the right, and I'm like, yes, nailed that prompt. But the behind that, there's a lot that still needs to be managed.
So what are you excited about handing over? You have so many things and so many, because I think if you're probably the brains, the
Hmm.
brand, the everything. So are there certain things that you're just really excited about? They're on your dream list, your to-do list that you're excited to hand over that you know AI could, even though you could do it, but AI could probably do it faster?
Um, yes, I would say I'm excited about the fact that AI can give me that um, for the first drafts, like for getting more consistent on getting our message out there, getting articles, getting things like that. So that's not really work, but it's an important part of being relevant out there in the business community. And AI is definitely helps with that piece of it for me. It doesn't give me I still have to, I can get the draft content, but I still have to then make it mine. But it does at least frame things really nicely. So that is one I'm leaning deeply into. Um, and then on the work side, things like policies and, the analysis piece, that is huge. Like I had a client where somebody was going from one level premium coverage to another, and another company employee was going from the higher one to the lower one. Being able to take the schedules of benefits, which are public, and saying, what are the differences? What's going to be the impact, positive or negative? Something that would have taken me 5 hours is now down to 6 minutes. Things like that. And then I can advise. I can advise around how to communicate with the employee about being impacted. I can advise on, is this the right path for the client to go? I am not doing the line by line. Okay, this is up $40, this is down 300. That part, those sorts of things are invaluable.
And I think there's so much power in efficiency, but meaningful, like the
Yes.
meaning behind it. So when you think about the possibility of efficiency with AI, what does that really mean to you? Because I think there's a lot of buzzwords, and I don't think people really understand what efficiency is with AI.
For me, the simplest way to put it is it's giving me the back office I never had. So if you remember back in the day, you'd have a room, you'd go through the glossy place, and then they'd be tucked away, they'd be the little guys with the little ledgers and all of that. That's what I have now with AI. I have a back office that allows me to truly do the thought work, the advisory work, the discerning work, um, while the back office gets done.
I think that, Kelly, if we would have had AI when we started our businesses, can you
World
imagine?
domination, world
Right?
domination.
Oh my gosh. I just think it's such an incredible time for people that are talented, that have gifts, that can improve the world to do it. Like, what's stopping you with AI?
What's stopping me?
No, no, no. I mean the
Oh, just in general.
possibility,
Oh, yeah.
like the
Yeah.
barriers of all the things. If I think about how many things would just stop us from like having an idea and bringing it to market because we just can't. We're one
Yeah.
person. It's I just think it's an incredible time to be alive and
It
so much opportunity. I'm
is.
sorry that you're working more, and I hope that this will like be a short-term thing so
I
you
think
can
it
have
will.
your 4-day weeks and
I think it will. I
enjoy
think it
that.
will. I think it will. But it's just that's going back to what I said at the beginning. There's a lot to be mindful of and to factor in.
Yes.
So
Yes. Okay. Anybody that wants, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyone that wants to connect with Kelly, if you have questions for her, absolutely connect with her. You work with people globally, don't you? You work with people everywhere?
um our clients are based here, but they have offices all over.
Okay. Okay. So she's in Bermuda, and I swear we're gonna have something in Bermuda one day. We're just gonna have a reason to go see Kelly. Um, and connect with her on LinkedIn. Phenomenal resource. And if you have any questions for her, you have to tag her so she'll see it later because this will get lost in LinkedIn land. So connect with Kelly Francis. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you, Bethany.
Take
Take
care.
care.
You too. Carlisha. Carlisha. Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm great. I thought I would be a little bit more nervous, but you always have this way of making me feel so relaxed, Bethany.
You know, I try. I don't know. I think I've had so many years of just screwing up myself that the older me, just like, this is it.
Yeah,
Flaws and all. This is what you
yeah.
get. So I want to introduce Carlisha to everyone. Carlisha Moore is an operations leader, graduate of the AI Global Agent of Change program, and she manages enablement operations for enterprise technology clients and oversees programming, strategic partnerships, and member engagement for a professional membership organization, running both simultaneously. What made that possible wasn't a tool that she downloaded or a system that she bought. It was curiosity. She started small, built her own command center from scratch, and now speaks on how professionals can use AI to build a life and career they actually have, not one that a template assumes. So I would love to have this conversation because I think it is, tell us, I have questions, but before we start, tell us a little bit about who you are and the journey that brought you here.
Thank you. And thanks, Bethany. Hi, everyone. So as Bethany said, I'm an operations leader. My passions has been with connecting with people, finding solutions, and sealing the deal. Like you said, I lead enablement for enterprise tech clients. I've done strategic planning for nonprofit organizations and curated membership experiences for for professional associations, small and large. I've done that usually through sheer effort and hard work, but at a certain point, that just wasn't enough. I needed to do it a smarter way, and that actually led me to AI.
Okay, so what does an agent of change mean to you personally? Not just professionally, but what does it really mean?
To me, it means refusing to accept that overwhelm is just a part of the deal, that resilience alone, it can't be a strategy. It's not scalable. It doesn't allow you to be present and at your best. And I find that when you're present is the only way to be at your best. And I found that I found that system and structure, they allow you to be grounded so that you can move through these different areas of your life with confidence. And confidence is key. And it's so amazing that the older you get, you realize how it doesn't, none of this stuff, I could look jacked up. If I had confidence, I'm armed with confidence, then I'm taking over. So having that system, having a system that you believe in gives at least me that for
Okay,
sure.
so to 100% on the confidence. And I think in this moment, like with AI,
Yeah.
confidence is even more important
Hmm.
than it's been in the past. But we figured out other stuff. I don't think any of us have ever said, yes, we know something and we 100% know something.
Right.
Without AI, we figured it out.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we can figure this out. Okay, so
Yeah.
take us back to Carlisha before AI. What was that life like? What was actually going on day to day?
Lots of tabs in the brain, as you know, lots of context switching. It's searching the different tools. I'm not going to name them all, but you've been through the gamut of going through all the different tools to try to find the one that suits you. And it just left me exhausted. Like it left me tired. And at the end of the day, I didn't feel like I was moving the needle. But with AI, it helped me to kind of put that into work, but I had to first deal with the frustration of all that, which led me into those questions and that curiosity. I got tired of being tired, as they say, of the frustrations. But you know what I mean, Bethany. It's just like you get
I
to a certain point where you're just like, I got to think of something else.
I mean, you know, when you talk about the tabs, I have not upgraded my phone because I don't want to write down all my tabs that are open.
Right.
Like it's real. And I
Yeah.
don't know, I'm not going to read this stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
So AI enters your life
Hmm.
and what changed? So how do you go from the frustration, all the things, context switching, all the things, and where you are now?
Yeah. So it's funny. It's with community. So I was chatting with a close friend of mine who built a dashboard using Claude. And it was just to solve like a small area of her life. And it intrigued me. The dashboards just always intrigued me. It's just like wow. And I got curious and I went home that day and I was like, I need to solve something very small. You know what? I'm terrible at dinner. I decided to create a recipe dashboard. So I put in the different ingredients I had in my house, the different recipes I knew. I put it all in Claude. It made me a dashboard, let me know the grocery list items I needed. It let me know which days I should do it based on my family's consumption. It just did everything for me. And I realized if I could do this just for my kitchen, then I could do this in any other part of my life. And that's kind of how it just happened. It was me getting personal with AI and having it solve just a very small challenge and building from there.
And I think that's important for those that have not started yet. You don't
Yes.
start with something that's like gonna get you fired. You start with something that is a struggle.
Yeah.
If I think about when I was shuffling kids to like from school to the thing to the next thing, it was never coordinated. And it
Hmm.
was such a hassle. If I would have had AI to do some of the things that was just a struggle in life.
Yeah.
Even we had one person from the last accelerator that her father passed
Mm,
and she became like an instant caregiver of her mother. And she just literally used AI to vent and was like, oh
mm.
my God, I don't know. And it was, she had to navigate the VA. And I don't know if y'all know about the VA, they don't make it easy to like get your benefits and find like
Yeah.
it's just a lot. And she ended up creating like a caregiver guide to just simplify her life, which was stressing and was struggling. And it's you just have to start someplace, but you have to start. So
Yeah.
sitting here watching us talk about AI is great, but it doesn't matter unless you go in and like Carlisha said, she took something that was like meal planning's terrible
Yeah.
and I don't like it and I don't
Yeah.
want to do it. But the recipe is the worst part. Like coming
Yeah.
up with it, that's absolutely 100% the worst part.
Yeah.
So tell
And
it. Oh, go ahead.
no, and that's what I also loved about taking your course. Like I've mentioned before, like the intentionality of having just that time to be curious and solving a very simple thing, but you just need to be able to take the time. And that's what your course kind of offered me. It gave me 90 minutes, just to focus on AI and challenges. And I love
Mhm.
that.
So what have you built? I'd love to know like what I have to know about the command center and what this is because in my mind it runs everything. So what
Yeah.
exactly have you done?
Yeah, for me. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's one dashboard where I can see everything professionally and personally. I put in my meeting summaries, my executive strategies that I have for at least, a month out. I do action items agenda. It's every week I see what needs to have a decision and what's on the calendar, and I break that up by client. And at the end of the week, I see what got done, what needs to be carried over. I get to celebrate my successes because I get to see it. And that's the big part of the confidence piece, right? It's being able to, like, when you're just doing and your head is in the sand, like, you don't get to celebrate yourself and give you that extra boost to keep going. And that's what I was missing a lot. So being able to see what I've done is like probably the best part of the command center. And then it also lets me to focus on next week too, see what's coming so I can again feel confident in my next week. That's what my big takeaway has been with AI. It's just confidence.
And what I love about it is that it sounds so human.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of the fear is like it's us versus them or
Hmm.
robots versus machine versus us. And I think if people can just like tear down that wall, they'd see what's possible of how it helps us or how it can assist us. So I'd love to just know your perspective about what you think this relationship about you and AI has been during this process.
I see it as a partner. It's been a thinking partner. It's not a replacement. I have to bring the context. I have to bring myself, the relationships, my own personal judgment. And AI brings the synthesis to me. It brings the organization and the memory. It doesn't make decisions for me, and I'm asking it to clear all the noise so I can continue to make the better decisions. And honestly, having that support system is something I've always needed, but I couldn't hire. You talk about different things, but it's hard to hire out for when you just need a second brain. And since experiencing that, I can't go back to doing it the other way. It's so inefficient. And yeah, it's just been the way of clarity for me and to be able to be present.
And the second brain thing, I think, freaks people out sometimes because I think we're so wrapped up in our identity. A lot of my identity has been work and like my
Hmm.
work success and my work accomplishments. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, but work was the thing that I could control, I think. So there's a lot of identity wrapped up in that, which is under attack. It's under attack depending on your identity in our country. It's under attack depending on what your role is in the world of work that you could feel like with AI. So I'd love to understand. You were talking about when you were moving into leadership and stepping out of the details. And the
Hmm.
second brain is your brilliance and
Yeah.
is why you have success and why your clients hire you to guide them
Mhm.
through these things. But how does that change for you if now you are trying to move out of this leadership role? How does that affected your journey?
So it's like it said, just seeing it from above, seeing the bigger vision, and knowing myself because AI forces you to be curious. Because if you're not curious with AI, you end up getting, as they like the AI slop, it's just kind of this regurgitated generic phrases, but it allows you to get personal with yourself so that you can see where your zone of genius is and lead from that space. So I think that's what it's.
So what would you,
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, no, you're fine. What would you say to someone that hears all this, but still feels like it's not for me? I'm technical. I'm really good at my career, so I don't need AI. There's a lot of stuff that we say.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
First off, call me. I love to call me, DM me. I love to assist, support, and do all of that. I'd love to guide. But honestly, start small. Like I said, I started with groceries. Like, you don't have to, the brilliant part about AI is you don't have to understand how the technology works or to be technical. You just need to know what's not going right in your life and what is going right in your life. And then be curious, and AI will be that technical partner for you. Start small, let curiosity lead, everything else follows. Just bringing your authentic self. It's crazy how simple it is. It doesn't mean it's easy, right? But it's simple. Just bring yourself.
And there's a lot of I think there's a lot of noise. So, what are some of the mistakes that you see
Mm.
people make? Because I think it's just as good to know what to do as much as it is what not to do.
Yeah. Some of the mistakes they need is they focus too much on the end goal, focus too much sometimes on what generates money, focuses too much on just like being at the finish line and being able to present, and being perfect. And what I learned specifically in this journey is that it is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, and every piece that you do builds you towards the customized system that you need for your life, which is the most important thing. So, and the mistakes help you get there faster, as painful as they can be. That's what mistakes do.
So, if we can talk about you are a high performing woman
Mhm.
that talks about career, family, personal ambition, all in the same breath, like it's
Mhm.
easy. How does this fit into the bigger picture of the life you're building?
Yeah, I had to really understand that balance is not about splitting time. That's what I always, when I used to hear, oh, it's balance, balance, I used to think, okay, well, I spend one day doing this, an hour, like, and it's not about that. It's about creating the mental space so that you can be present in the different places you have to be. It's not time spent, it's about intention and presence in that time. So my command center, it gives me that. I'm not carrying the weight of everything on my head, every deadline, everything. I can actually show up. I can show up for my work where I need to, my family, the things I have to do, my own goals. And that's the life I'm building. And I'm not looking to be perfect. I'm just looking to be present. And that has helped a lot in the whole balance thing with everything, with the kids and work.
Okay, so side note, completely not in anything. Are you going to be at the live thing in July?
Yes, I am. I'm going to be in Atlanta on the 17th.
Okay, so do you want to teach a session about your command center?
Bethany, yes. Whatever you would like. Whatever you want, Bethany. You
Because
could ask me to walk your
I'm
dog.
kind
I
of
would say
have
yes.
FOMO and I selfishly want to see your command center.
Sure. Love to.
Oh, yay. Okay,
Yeah, I will
so
be there.
Carlicia's on the agenda on the 18th. Only open for AI accelerated people though, y'all. All right.
You got to
You
be
can't
in.
buy your way in the room. Okay, yay. Thank
Awesome.
you.
No problem.
All right. So if you think about who AI is for and who should really look at the way that they can approach this, who do you think you want to reach this message? Who do you want to
Mhm.
hear this? Who is this right for?
Yeah, so it's anybody who wears multiple hats. It's that person that's like, if I only had more time, or if I was only more organized, and all these things would get done. It's the association managers who juggle multiple committees and event chairs. It's the business professional who runs multiple cohorts and does TED Talks and all these things. It's the operations professional, like myself, who's good at their job, but it's just was doing it the wrong way for so long. And that was me. And if it's you, like I also want to impart upon you the knowledge that I got, that it doesn't have to be. You can fit yourself into your own. You don't have to try to make it work with another system or another tool. Don't buy anything else like that. If you're gonna buy some tokens, build your own and create it for yourself if you're gonna spend your money.
And I think that's just how we are. Like we don't
Yeah.
know there's a better way to work. We try to work the best we can with what we know. And that's it. And so even
Mhm.
just not understanding what our blind spots are, or there's a better way to do it without somebody showing us there's a better way to do it, I think that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to you to be an agent of change?
Well, we answer that, but I can re-answer it again. The
Oh,
age of change is just for me, it's just like showing up and being able to be yourself and having and understanding you don't accept you don't accept the overwhelm that your
mm,
position has brought you in, you know? You sit there and you use what you can to change what you need to change. And always remember that your system gives you confidence.
that's right. You did answer
Yes.
that. That was a great answer
It's
too.
okay.
By the way. Okay, so where can people find you and follow what you're building?
Yes. So you can follow me on LinkedIn as I go through building this piece by piece. I'll be sharing more. I'm not a big sharer, but that's the next goal. My first goal this year was to speak. Spoke. Now I'm gonna speak more on LinkedIn. You just search my name. I plan to launch a Substack very soon. I like that platform, so I'll do that. Yeah, just search Carlicia Moore, and I'll be there. Send me a message. I generally like to hear people that think of it, not just because I like the tea. I do like to hear people, and that's the people I want to work with, the people who are stuck, and I want to support and build with them. So please reach out.
Yay!
Yay,
Well,
thank you,
now
Bethany.
you're speaking and speaking again in a couple more weeks.
It's crazy.
Uh, so I'm super excited.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
thank you. If
Bethany.
you have questions or you want to hire Carlicia, you have to tag her by doing the at sign and starting to type her name. And she's listed as a speaker. Her LinkedIn profile is several times in the comments, so you can find her. Because if this is what she's building for her life, imagine what she can build for your business. Just saying.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Myself. Hello. How are you? Let
Hello,
me.
hello.
How are you? You look fabulous.
Doing great. Thank you. You as
It's
well.
Thank you. I see people when we meet at like 6 p.m. at night after long days. Venice is one. Anytime we have sales professionals, leaders, they're in the car. They're in the car trying to keep up with like screens moving and prompts and questions and all of those. So they probably welcome when we get to Q&A so they can just like listen and not have to try and watch. But Venice is one of those fine professionals that is just so impressive with what she's done and what she's learned. And I'm so excited to introduce you to her. So, Venice Richardson has 20 years in medical sales professional, a unique background of research, public health, and pharmaceuticals and medical sales. She currently works at Azura Vascular Care as a territory manager and patient liaison. Her goal at Azura is to market and service the service line and obtain referrals. She's also active in volunteering with various nonprofit organizations. She's a graduate of Spelman and UT School of Public Health. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Society, an associate member of Jack and Jill America, Houston Spelman Alumni Association, and a longtime member of the National Sales Network. That's where we met, National Sales Network. Um, so she is currently interacting with medical staff, dialysis clinics, and helping nurses and techs identify vascular complications. She loves volunteering in her nonprofit organization and community work. So I'm so excited to have this conversation because I really want everyone to understand that this is not closed to anyone. Everyone, and I'm one of those people that I've been doing this for a long time. I was like, do I really need to learn AI? And yes, we do. So I would love to understand, Denise, how the introduction of AI has played a role in your life and your professional role.
I will tell you that AI is absolutely the technology of the future. When I decided to join your cohort, I was really curious on, what is this going to be about, and what exactly will I learn? Now, what I learned was that we had an amazing group of women and men from all different types of professions. And what it did was really open my eyes to the possibilities, because you had attorneys, you had people that own their own businesses. So I said, this is really interesting for someone that I knew about AI, but I knew pretty much nothing about AI. I've heard my son and my husband talk about AI and investments, and that's kind of where I started thinking, what is this AI thing? So I really appreciate the opportunity. I really uh, was excited about being a part of the cohort 3 and learning more about AI. And, this is a technology I think is going to be, not think, but will be a part of our everyday lives for a long time. And either we're going to get on board or we will be left behind. I have been known as an innovative thinker, and so I always think outside of the box, and I don't like to be left behind. I like to be ahead of the game instead of out of the game. Because if we do not pretty much grasp AI, we're going to be in trouble later on in life. So I will tell you this thing. I think I can hear myself, or my phone is hello.
Yeah, you might have, if you have it up.
Let me put this up. Excuse me.
No, you're
But
fine.
I will tell you that I'm not sure why my phone is kind of
Oh,
repeating. My phone is
Renee,
repeating what I say.
open your phone and you probably have the LinkedIn Live app up. So if you go into LinkedIn, it's playing it's playing our session. So I did the same thing where I started it and it was off mute and I heard myself like at a delay because the LinkedIn Live was playing and I had my volume on. So you can just turn your volume down on your phone or mute it on the LinkedIn Live.
Thank you so much. I am so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. This is we're live. So this is
Yes,
not recorded.
yes. And
um
so the opportunity has been fabulous and phenomenal, and I have pretty much kind of grasped it a little bit, and which I'm not a techie person. I have to call my son sometimes and say, "Hey, could you fix the video, the recorder for me?" But now, I am really, digging in.
and I'm so proud because I think Venice, I think we label ourselves like I'm not technical and it becomes this block sometimes. My mom was the same way except it was anything with the power button. So I was in computers, but she was like the VCR is broken. I don't know how to fix the VCR, but she's like it's a machine. It has a power button. But I think it's important for us to understand we're working longer than we have in the past. We might be really good at our job and it's going to change everything. So I don't think there's a person that's off that's I don't want to say safe, but I don't think there's a role that may not be impacted by AI somehow, whether it's executives and they look at data differently or whether it's someone that inputs data. It's going to show up everywhere. And it's just a matter of time. And I know sometimes when people are in regulated industries, things have to be slower because of compliance and regulation and HIPAA and all the things, but it's coming. We just don't know where and when. So, how has it shown up in your personal life?
Well, it's showing up in my personal life because it's allowed me to really explore like chat gpt and claude and perplexity. I knew nothing kind of about those AI tools, and now I can, I like to research a lot of, research grants, really
Mm.
kind of helping out my participation in a nonprofit organization, 12 Days of Christmas, and also just researching travel ideas or financial stocks. And in my personal life, that's that's been interesting to me. So it's really looking at the different tools to use. I knew nothing about Gemini or Perplexity. I knew nothing about Mid Journey or Notebook. So now I have really researched some of those tools to actually I'm taking this time to line up how am I going to use them. Some of these AI tools in my everyday life, and it's interesting.
So, do you feel like it's been hard to learn it or to embrace it?
You know what? I don't think it's been hard to learn it well, I will tell you when I started cohort 3, it was a little struggle because I was working. And so I was juggling a lot of, a lot of time, um, and making time to make sure that I show up and I'm there to learn. And what's really good is that you have a lot of the sessions that are taped. So now I have a uh, catalog of different topics that I can go back and watch and see how I can work that into my professional and also my personal life. I will tell you that professionally, I'm excited because I've taken some of the tools in Claude, and as a medical sales representative, um, I went to a meeting recently. This is one of my kind of my sharing great stories. Is that I went to a meeting, and before I went to the meeting, I prepared a folder for the participants, and one of the things was a flow chart or algorithm that was made of a process of referral, and it was pretty entailed and complicated a little bit. So what I did is I put that document into Claude, and I was able to do a step-by-step version of this document. And everybody now really loved it because it was simple. They didn't really have to think, now which direction is this algorithm going? But it was step by step. And now it's been sent out to the whole region because it further simplifies the process. And, we have a lot of staff in our dialysis clinics. We have to get referrals, and it takes a lot of time to do that. So now it's kind of streamlined the process and allowed not only the analytical thinkers to follow the flow chart, but also present another tool, a step-by-step tool that will help them streamline their time.
And I think that's where there's there's so much that we have to do that we have to do. And it just takes time, but it's not hard. It just has to be done. Like referrals feeds the business and you have to get them. But then all the little things that go along that you don't want to do at 8 o'clock at night. But if you don't do it and it's not in by the next morning, that's the stuff that doesn't take away from you spending time with patients and you working with nurses and techs. If you're not spending that time putting the stuff in or doing the things that you're talking about, then you have more time to have better relationships. So I think it's so important, especially when you think of sales, there's always been admin stuff like we have to do, and there's always follow up, there's always things. And I think it's just there's so much potential to just allow us to have better relationships and customers and patient outcomes because we can spend more time on more meaningful work. I think it is incredibly powerful that you got to use your stuff and now everybody's using your stuff.
Yes. Follow up and communication is the key to building better customer relations and experience. And my surgical coordinator, I actually did a document for her, and she was so excited that her process was streamlined because we get a lot of calls. If people don't know what to do, you're getting calls all day. But if you have a streamlined process, they have something to follow. And now what she does is she's sending the follow up, and this is what you need to do. And so not only am I excited, but I'm getting others excited. And that's going to be key in really mentoring the next generation to embrace AI.
And I think if when you showed people what you created with AI, and if anybody asked you how long did it take, and you're like, oh, a few minutes, most people are like, what? They just don't know. And they don't know what's possible. But it took you a while to get to the point that you even thought of, huh, I wonder if I could do this better in an AI system. And most times the question is yes. Doesn't mean you know how to do it, but even using AI to be like, I need to create this thing. What do you need from me? What should I be saying? What should I be asking you for? And knowing that right now is the worst it's going to be is just crazy. But there's so many advancements and so much, hopefully, potential that AI will have with diseases and chronic illnesses and just being able to diagnose. There's so much potential. It's really exciting that you're in that industry and you can see firsthand what's happening.
Yes, it really is going to be, I will say, the technology of the future for all of us to embrace, whatever field, whether it's financial, whether it's in the medical field, whether it's in the education field. I see, when you had that, I want to say one Saturday, there was a class that you could build an app. Never did I imagine that you can build an app without coding. I never thought about it because I knew I don't code, but I think that's a wonderful idea, um, to build an app. I think in the future that's something I would think about, building something on an education basis for patients, building an app. So it's not just kind of sitting there. We're sitting and not really thinking about what we can do. So now that I have been exposed to AI and what I can do, I am every day looking to see what I can do next.
So, Venice, what would you say to women like us that are seasoned, that have been doing this a long time, um, that might just be sitting and waiting or don't feel like they need to learn it? They're just like, I'm good because I'm good at my job. So, what would you say to them that are seasoned professional women like us?
I would say that embrace AI, because when embracing AI, you will find that it's going to save you some time, a lot of time. And it's also going to take your communications to the next level. When you communicate in a more organized way, I can tell you that sending out some memos now. I just sent a snapshot of Houston report to my manager, and what I got back was excellent. Um, I use AI, and the more I use it, the more I figure out the prompts and what to say, and it does exactly what I wanted to say. I used to pay a graphic artist, spend a lot of time uh, writing down and developing communications that I needed to send out, and paying a graphic artist to finish it. Now I'm doing it myself, and I'm doing it better than I had the graphic artist do, because I know exactly what I wanted to say. And so the longer I find that I'm doing this, the better, um, the better I get, and the better the communications are coming out as well.
Yes. And it's a skill. I mean, I think there's levels to it. And as things change, we have to get better. Remember when the internet first came out and we had to almost dumb down what we said because we would say dry cleaners open till 7, and the internet would say no search found, no results found. There was a time that there were no results found, and we'd have to say dry cleaners. And then it was like dry cleaners, dry cleaning. Like we had to change how we spoke in order to get the response. And now we're very specific because we don't want to look at a bunch of stuff. And we're like dry cleaners open past 8 that don't use chemicals because we don't want to spend forever trying to find a dry cleaners. So I think the same thing, like there's levels to it, but as you learn, you just learn different ways to do it. So I'd love to know what project in the future do you see yourself doing? Like, what are you excited about? What's next for you?
I'm excited about maybe developing some resources for my patients, um, and really connecting more with my access managers and my nurses on vascular complications and kind of really almost putting our heads together and kind of introducing AI to them and seeing how they can streamline their all the duties that they have because they're really overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot. It's when you're fighting for your life or to get rid of what's something that's going on, it's just your mind can't do a lot. So I think that's incredibly powerful. And think about how much you have to navigate while you're going through treatments and how impactful that would be. It's kind of like, remember when we used to have like cancer support groups and dementia, like we used to meet in the hospital on Wednesday evening or whatever it was, like those seem to be gone. So any type of companionship, support to not
Mhm.
feel like you're alone. I mean, there's so many
Mhm.
possibilities of what you could do. So I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming and showing up. And even when you're on the road, even when it's the end of a very long day, I appreciate you. I'm excited to see what you do now.
Thank you so much. It has been amazing. The global AI, the global summit has been amazing. And I am excited to be a global agent of change, AI agent of change.
Well, you are. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Debbie Bell, Debbie Bell. I know you're here.
I
Hello.
am. Let's see what we
Hi.
got.
Okay, hi. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Debbie. We are a couple minutes behind, but we have two brilliant women that are going to close us out. And Debbie Bell is a tenured specialty sales leader who has spent her career driving growth for both Abbott Diabetes Care and Merck, strengthening healthcare system partnerships, helping care teams deliver better outcomes. She's led performance across diverse territories and complex IDNs in the LA market, Los Angeles market, and always with a focus on elevating clinical conversations and expanding access for the patients who need it the most. Alongside her commercial work, Debbie's built programs that amplify voices and open doors, from Abbott's field based Black Business Network to NSN National Sales Network's LA's Interview Bootcamp, which also helped emerging talent secure roles at companies like Abbott, AbbVie, Merck, and Baxter. Debbie's passion for bridging commercial excellence with community impact and using innovation, including AI, to help people and organizations rise together. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm just so grateful to be coming alongside all of the people in this cohort. So much talent. And I had no idea that there were three of us who are in sales. I'm happy to
Yeah.
be following after Venice. Yes. So
Yeah.
we do the same business. Yeah.
Yes, I think we have several salespeople that we met through NSN, and
Exactly.
I think it's just, and I love National Sales Network. It's such a phenomenal organization to support diverse talent navigating some fields that don't feel very diversey. So let's talk about you. And I would love to understand, you've had an interesting route in your career and business. So how did you actually get into pharma and med device sales?
Right. So my initial background out of college is production. I started in radio. And then I went to television production and I worked there longer than I care to say. That's why I really think like a producer. But once I really realized that producing is sales, right? I went to um, a job fair at LAX, at a hotel at LAX, put my resume around. I had two babies because I was freelancing here in Los Angeles. Took my resume around, got two callbacks. I was in between jobs and I got a job offer from Merck. That's how I got into the business. So it was not a direct, I didn't even know any representatives. And here I am, 20 plus years later, still in the business, but really still loving the programming side of things, which is why that other component of what I've done with employee relations groups and with the NSN chapter means so much to me because I get to scratch that itch as well.
So talk about what keeps you passionate about medical sales because you were production and
Right.
radio and media is totally different. It feels different, but you're saying it's production, it's a show, it's producing results. So how are you why are you passionate about medical sales?
Well, my territory with both of those companies has always been an underserved area. So health equity is what is most important to me. And bringing equity to patients in underserved areas is very, very challenging. There's plenty of doctors, but the way that they practice can be very not necessarily cutting edge, right? So they may be practicing. I had a couple of doctors who were diabetologists. That was the area that I've worked in most recently, practicing like it was 1970s. So you've got patients of color who are not getting optimal care. So that really is part of the passion that I have for medical sales, pharma and medical device sales, because there's so many people that need the support.
So can we have a conversation about equity and AI?
Huh.
Because I don't know what your thoughts are on the data that
Mhm.
is in some of these systems and how that's becoming a model for care.
Um, can you expound on that a little more?
So I guess when I think of systems in our country, whether it's justice system, which is biased the wrong way,
Mhm.
people of color are predominantly get higher sentences, get all these things. If I think of some of the healthcare tragedies that have happened with maternal death rates from Black and brown women, some of that data doesn't include enough of us.
Right.
I personally believe that AI has a great potential to make health equitable or widen gaps faster.
Well, I would agree with that because one of the biggest fears I think that medical professionals have, healthcare providers, is the person who grabs their phone and tries to make their own medical judgments. And some doctors are intimidated by patients who come in well informed. And but there's a balance, right? I think someone earlier in today's summit talked about uh, their vet coming in and pulling out some gel, you know, and she said, but I knew to do that. Right. So medical professionals are in place for a reason, but I do think that AI can help us gain more equity because when you come in informed, a doctor has to talk to you differently. And so it's important that we are empowered. And that's one of the things that AI can do. I've heard the term confidence a lot today. Um, confidence in knowing who you are and that you can come in and talk about your disease state differently, knowing what you can ask differently gives you confidence, and builds respect, right? So many healthcare providers don't really respect their patients. I'm the doctor, I know everything. Not really. So that's where, as a representative, you see a lot of that because they don't want to really listen to us.
Oh, there's a
There's
lot.
always something, right?
Right. But I do think I do think that I do think there's so much potential.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
send it to you, Debbie. There was a talk by the CEO of Google, and she's a multi-time cancer survivor. And
Mm,
it was an AI conversation, but she has her lens of being a survivor. So we all have our lenses of experiences that AI is very exciting or very scary for us. And I would love, we met almost a year ago
yeah.
in Vegas
Mhm.
and at the National Sales Network conference. What interested you about AI then, and what's changed now?
Well, you got up on, first of all, you're such a fabulous presenter.
Mm,
And you really you set the room on fire because you showed people, one, what AI could do for us as sales professionals, saving us time. And that's one of the biggest things. You're in your car all day going from doctor, 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 doctor. So then they expect a lot of admin work, and you have to do follow ups. I mean, repping is different now. And so you showed people how they can do their routing, how they could do their follow ups, a number of applications. And people were so excited. And now I see far more potential, right, for me to apply AI in territory. And I really appreciated Venice's sharing out how she's developed workflows for her customers. You know, it's very highly regulated. I did a little bit of research with some friends as to how they're using AI now on territory. People are saving time from data analysis because that's a very important component of being a sales representative. You've got to know the data, you've got to know where you're winning, where you're losing, how you can come in and do things differently. And AI can help with customizing your approach for your customers as well. AI is helping people with objection handling, certainly with the routing. So all of those things I'm thinking about, and how I'm going to be incorporating them into my next opportunity, because I've just finished one chapter and I'm looking forward to the next chapter now, and how AI is going to lead. And I really want to be take my AI certifications and lead with in my next district and region to show how AI can really impact us and save us time and keep us on track 100%.
if you didn't catch it, Debbie is available to help sales teams understand how to use AI. And I think this is something I just talked about this, Debbie, where I think organizations thought last year they just needed to buy tools and we would figure it out.
Right,
And we can't. Like, if people don't understand, then they're not going to use it. So there's not going to be an ROI on it. And I think on the sales side, especially if you're in medical sales and stuff like that, all the HIPAA stuff kind of ends like starts when it's a customer. But all the sales stuff beforehand, oh my God, there's so much.
right.
There's so much. If
And
you
there's a
guys,
lot of restrictions too. There's a lot of hesitation for adopting AI, even though they may give you access to Copilot or whatever it may be. There's a lot of hesitation because in the company that I was in, I could never create something that I was then going to take to a customer. That would be grounds for very serious being reprimanded.
Mhm.
But there are compliant ways that you can bring the technology to bear, and that's what I'm excited about.
So can you tell me, there's so many challenges when it comes to sales, but can you tell me a challenge that you faced in your territory and how you overcame it?
Right. So this was several years ago now when we were in launch mode for the diabetes technology that I was promoting. It's continuous glucose monitoring. And there was very, very low adoption in my territory, even with my specialists. Even my endocrinologists did not really utilize the technology. So I really had to adjust my routing. I had to do a lot of education. I had to look at the data and determine who were my top 5 potential doctors. All of the things that you do when you have to grow your business. I was actually ranked 119th, but after 18 months, I brought that up to be in the top 20. And with AI, though, I could have simplified that process and cut it down in time. I could have been having agents continually send out emails to these doctors, updating them on technology. There's so many more applications. Some of the objection handling that I had to deal with, which was a lot because nobody was using the technology. But after I left the territory, I had doctors before I left actually calling me back, talking to patients, tears in their eyes, how the technology had changed their lives. So that's what I crave, right? That's what the AI would help me to do better, have the time to go in and really help patients see and do something differently and change their lives.
I think that you're already an agent of change. I don't think that I think many of the people that are in our cohort
Oh,
are change agents anyway, but
yeah.
it's a formality that now it's on a piece of paper and you can like put it somewhere. But what does that mean to you? Not necessarily just with AI, but what does it mean to you to be an agent of change?
Really, I'm excited about my certification because of the applications that I'll be able to bring the knowledge to bear in, not just in my professional world. And so many people have talked about bringing it to bear in their personal world, and I hadn't even really thought about that. Making meal plans and stuff like that. I love that. But it means that now I have the tools to be able to go into a meeting at my church or within my district and offer um, different ways and look at different platforms, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. Use that technology to say, hey, bring a couple of different mechanisms to the table. Um, really work through problems quicker. Um, I don't even know all of the applications that I'll be able to bring this to bear in. I've been talking to friends. I've got one really exciting project with a friend in Virginia who is called Hello Sunshine. She's bringing together seniors with Gen Xers to make personal connections. She's got a pitch with the city of Hampton. We're going to start working on that and bringing AI into that project so that we're cutting back on our time, developing, people. I know people who are speakers, things like that. I feel excited about my ability to use this technology in so many different areas of my life to be able to touch on and develop and grow.
I am so excited. I cannot. I'm going to see you in a
Yeah,
month. I'll be in LA with NSN's LA chapter. Cannot wait. Um, because it's going to be amazing.
we're so excited to have you.
Yay.
This is one of my pet projects where I was very nervous about interviewing. And
Mm,
I think I might be able to use some of these platforms to help me because I'm going to start interviewing again soon.
okay. You heard it. You heard it first here that she's going to start interviewing soon. She's not going to
Yeah,
be interviewing long. So I'm just saying. So thank
I
you.
hope
Thank you.
not. I hope not.
No.
But what we're excited about doing is pulling you in and some of the other resources that we have to help people who may have been in the job search for a minute. And some of my fellow cohorts members, Tasha, she's going to be pulled in, and some other people are being pulled in as well. And that's what my talent is, to say, hey, you, let's all get together. And that's what a producer is. That's what I am at heart. And a producer is a sales professional. So we're going to be bringing those resources to bear to help people strengthen their interviewing skills. And to date, 8 people have been hired after attending boot camp. So we're very, very proud. And we bring our sponsors in. I bring in managers from around the area to come in. Everybody leaves so invigorated because there's not often a setting that you can bring people together in, and focus in on something that can be so mysterious for people. You
Right.
know, the job search is tough anyway, but it's a mysterious thing to interview and then never get any feedback.
Right. Right. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who want to connect with Debbie, connect with her now before she's too busy and you need to connect with her now. If you have questions for Debbie, make sure you do the at and type Debbie, and you'll see her listed. We also posted her LinkedIn profile in the chat. And thank you so much, Debbie. Have an amazing weekend,
Thank you so
and
much. It's
I'll
just
see
been a
you soon.
pleasure.
Thank you. All right, take care.
All righty.
Okay, we are going to close it out with Christina. No, she's here. Hi, look, we matchy match.
Notice this again. This is a
I
theme.
I know. I'm so excited that you're here. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so happy to be here. Apologize, y'all. I sound like Kermit the Frog. Allergy season is real.
Oh
This
my
pollen is
gosh.
killing me.
And it's like never ending.
No,
Mother Nature is just not happy right now. So if all we have is allergies, okay,
I'm
we'll
gonna
just
take it as a blessing.
we'll just have to take it. So I want to introduce Christina Sims, who is let me do her real bio and then I'll tell you my version of Christina. So she has more than 18 years of experience across AI strategy, digital marketing, and leadership advisory. Christina has served over 150 organizations and generated over 100 million in revenue for her clients. She is the creator of the Answer Framework, a proprietary methodology to help businesses get found, trusted, and recommended in AI driven search environments. Her work has been recognized with a Bronze Stevie Award, the CREA Global Award, and named one of Pittsburgh's Business Times People on the Move. She has been named one of Medium's women leading AI, and her expertise has been featured by Thrive Global, Brains Magazine, and other industry leaders. Christina Sims is, I don't have a lot of friends. Um, and I know it's shocking, right? Um, but
You're
I
right.
I don't have a lot of, but like my life, other than my personal life has been my business. And Christina is like my business soul sister. And it is lonely sometimes when you're in business. And many of us work at our home, in our offices by ourselves forever. And I think what I didn't realize until later in my business, and I wish I would have realized it sooner, is it doesn't have to be by myself, all alone. And if I have other people that are smarter than me, I will go further faster. And Christina is one of those people for me. So I am honored that she took time to be in our little program.
I'm
And
not waterproofed here. Come on.
and I just think that that sometimes people cross your path for a reason. And if you're lucky enough to stop and pay attention, maybe they'll be in your lives for a long time. Um, and I'm just grateful for her. And I'm so excited about the stuff we're talking about because we're doing stuff together after we've just been each other's therapist unofficially, probably
Yes.
for a while. So welcome. And I'm so
Thank
excited you're here.
you. I'm so elated. Such an honor. Don't be saying little anything. I mean, even though I'm 5'2", so my life has been little, but we make big moves. So
We
don't be
do.
putting that little up in there.
We do. So let's talk about there's a lot of noise right now about AI but I also think that it's changing everything in business. I also would love to know what your take is on what's actually shifting. And if you can kind of walk us through what you're seeing
Mm-hmm.
for those of the business owners that are just running the business and they don't have time to pay attention, but they should be paying attention.
Right. And I think we've now seen at first it was get on the train, jump on the wave. I can't swim, so I ran from waves. Okay, so let's be real here. I do fit the stereotype. So most of the conversation is either around pure excitement or pure fear. It's like there's no middle ground it feels anymore. And what I'm really seeing on that ground is more specific really than either of those once you push the both aside. And the shift isn't that it's changing everything, but rather it's removed one specific advantage most businesses have relied on for over 20 years volume. It was the ability to outpublish, outpost, outrank your competitors. That's mostly gone. Now, AI can produce content instantly. I mean, it's in a prompt, right? So if your visibility strategy is really built on showing up more than your competitor, that really just became obsolete overnight. And so what's left after all the dust settles is trust. That is the only thing AI cannot manufacture for you. So it didn't really break visibility, I'm saying, but rather it revealed it was already broken. It's just now slow enough where we couldn't see it clearly until now.
And I think because of ads, because of all the things, it's harder to establish trust
100%.
more so than ever before. And
100%.
And depending on your business, like when I was doing websites, no one ever came to me and was like, "Oh my God, I had so much fun with my last website. Oh, I just want to do another one." So you have, depending on what you're selling, then you also
Mhm.
have like other people that have destroyed the relationship before you even got in it, before you even have to build trust.
I worked in marketing, so that was everything is let me tell you about the agency before I got to you. And it's like, great. So you already know you're on the witness stand.
Yeah, it's very hard. So I would love to so if we're talking about search engine optimization and we're talking about what we all our behavior, what we're used to
Mhm.
doing for the internet for what 30 something years is searching.
Yep.
Searching for this, searching for that. Um, and you're saying that's changing. So content is changing, social media is changing. They already don't trust the information. Now AI is adding a layer like, is this AI? So what are you seeing the gap is between what people are actually doing versus what actually gets business found on AI?
Right.
Because I'm not searching. Like I go into Google and I turn on AI mode for everything. I'm not
100.
going to search anymore.
And it's so funny you say that because like most people don't realize that. I mean, back in the days of COVID, like when it first hit, I had just had a baby. Like you want something stressful, have a baby during COVID. And we had nothing to do but be on the internet. So it was like anyone who decided to do reels and TikTok, most of them probably went viral then. And so the same thing has changed now, where we have another evolution. Everything that was done then was the right answer for that old environment. And as you mentioned, that's changed now. The buyer behavior, how we consume, why we're consuming. You know, I come from a branding background as well. So where it was no like trust, now it's no need trust. Like if I don't need it, I'm going to put you on my wish list versus my need right now. So traditional SEO, as you mentioned, it was about getting a link clicked. You want to be one of those first blue links coming up on first page of Google. You got the traffic. They came to your link. They ran it on your site. Still happening, but it's shrinking fast. So anyone who tells you SEO is dead, they're just trying to sell you something. Let me tell you that part, because that's still a foundational layer that feeds into what we're talking about today. But nearly 60% of searches now, they end without a single click at all, because AI is generating that answer directly to them. Answer engine optimization. So the person never even gets to your website, which means if you're not in that AI answer, you essentially don't exist in that type of search. So the gap is this: most websites were built to speak to humans browsing your pages, but AI reads completely differently. It's looking for clear, direct answers to very specific questions. So if your content isn't structured for that system and AI can't extract that clean answer from your site, they're going to move on to who does. So let's talk about really what makes this urgent. AI-driven traffic, when it does land on your site, converts to 14%. Now, that is equivalent to 2 to 3% from traditional search. Why? Because when buyers are going through AI now, they're already warming up. So by the time they get to you, they've already decided that from that answer.
That's wild and scary all at the same time, because I think when someone's ideal client like types a question in ChatGPT or Perplexity or Google and a competitor's name comes up instead of them, what's actually happening behind that?
Come on. And really what's happening with that is it's really how it's being structured. So AI is not going to just recommend any business randomly. It doesn't happen that way. It recommends businesses based on our magic word, trust. That'll be the theme of my entire conversation. But trust to AI looks very, very specific. It's looking at whether your expertise is consistently clear across multiple places on the web, your website, directories, reviews, publications, even community platforms like Reddit, for example. So it's important that it's structured in a way that, again, it could read and extract. But most importantly, and this is the big one, it's looking at whether other trusted sources reference you. So think about it this way. AI is essentially asking the entire internet, are you credible? And if it doesn't have that answer, it again is going to default who does. So most likely the competitor who is being named, they're not doing anything dramatically better. They just made it easier for AI to understand who they are, who they serve, and why they should be trusted. So that's really the whole game right now that most business owners have not figured out yet, which is really actually an advantage right now, because if you move on it, you will be one of the first, again, early adopters. And that's started to become a buzzword, but in this case, it does actually benefit you in the long term.
And there's no early adopting with SEO. Like you can't win on SEO now because there are 900 gazillion sites that came before you that are already being found. So when you do work with service-based businesses, they might be highly credible, but they're not found online. So what is the common thread that you're seeing in why excellent firms stay visible or invisible, even though they're phenomenal? They have great customers. They've been around forever, but you can't find them.
And the thing is, again, like you said, these are great businesses. They have the proof. Their clients would refer them without hesitation. Real expertise before the machine, I always say, real credibility before the machine. But none of them are visible outside of their immediate network. And the reason is, and again, they're not doing anything wrong. It's just they were handed a visibility model that was never designed for the way they work or even who they are. They were told, how many have been victimized by, you need to post more consistently, post daily, create more content, build your personal brand. That's still important, but differently. And every time they tried it, though, it was in a way that felt either inauthentic or produced zero business results. Why? It's performative. And that's what I love about this space. It's visibility without performance. We can drop that algorithm dancing. No more hop, bop, and drop. The reels where you're trying to change outfits 15 times, a cut on CapCut. We're done with that. I let that go. It was stressful. And more laundry, right? So what happened? They're like, well, digital marketing doesn't work for me. And it's understandable, but it's also wrong. What doesn't work is applying high volume content strategy to a trust-based business. It doesn't, you're not an influencer. So these two things are fundamentally incompatible. And I understand that, when they talk about it's an attention economy. Yeah, but we're leaving out the wrong star of the word. Intentionally attention. That's the thing here. So the firms that are staying invisible, again, it's not because of credibility lack, it's because they lack the system that's going to communicate that credibility in a way that now both people and now AI can trust. So AI is really that third party to get to your customer.
And I think a lot of business owners have tried posting more, have redo their website 900 times. Every time you have a new value proposition or you have a new hook that you think is like, this is it. And we've done that. Like, how many times have we, until I just don't. Like, it's an embarrassing how I probably need to update my website, but I'm burned. Like, I have trauma from updating my website and nothing happens. So I guess if we're doing all the things and we're still not getting results that we expect, why do those things keep falling short? Because everything you read is like, this is what you have to do, and that's what we spend time doing.
I bought all the hook guides myself too. 5 steps to this, later I'm not going to do. I've been there. But the problem is they're all downstream of the real problem. So an agency can manage your content calendar. A rebrand can make your website look prettier. More posting can, of course, increase your activity online. But if none of them answer these foundational questions, what do you specifically do? Who do you specifically serve? How do you solve that problem in a way nobody else does? What's different from you? Your unique differentiator. What does a buyer need to believe about you before they reach out? That one is very important now. And especially the grand slam of them all, what proof actually exists that you can do it, that you've done this before? So if you don't have those clear answers, everything else is just decoration and you're building on a crack foundation. So the hardest part about this is the business I just described, the ones who've tried all the things and we're still tired, is again, you're the most credible ones on the market because you're trying to compete with the person that's got 80 million followers and all they're doing is the AI generated videos of them talking on a microphone about, this is what you need to do for your life. And they ain't done none of that but have the little stand link on there and making her $5. I ain't hating on it. You make your money how you are. But when you are in a reputational, trust-based business for services, you can't play that game. And what happens is you're not losing to better competitors. A big thing in marketing is we say the best communicator wins. This is that same application. It's not about being clever. It's about being clear. Clarity is what really reigns supreme here. And it's a frustrating situation. I totally get it.
It is. It is. So you've come up with a framework. You have a framework that actually works that your clients use so they can build AI visibility. Can you break down how that framework actually works in plain terms?
Yes, I can. So the first thing we do is find the actual questions that your ideal clients are trying to type into AI tools right now. They're prompting. So we want to figure out what are those prompts, not the keywords, full questions, because the average prompt now is about 23 words, not 3. So we want to get in their mind. I know a lot of SEO, we talk about semantic behavior, which you're just trying to figure out what are their intentions. Same thing. Then we're going to audit, where do you currently stand? What does AI actually say about your business today? And where are those gaps? And do you even come up at all? Is there any footprint whatsoever? That's a big thing. And so from there, we're trying to check for accuracy. Is if we find something, is it true about where you're at in your business right now? So from there, then we're going to fix your content so that AI can actually read it, understand it, and then trust it as a source. Then we're going to add a technical layer. Some people my techies out there, the word is schema. And it's a structured code that essentially gives AI a clear, direct explanation of who you are and why you should be trusted. Now, this should be consistent across every platform. directories, industry publications, community sites. If you have a presence, so there's a difference. If you are working just in a regional area, like I'm from Pittsburgh, then you want to maybe have a Google business profile. If you have an actual brick and mortar, if you're more online, maybe you want to have regional. That factors in there so you even understand where are you serving in that context. Because again, if someone says, I'm looking for an AI consultant in Pittsburgh, PA, if I don't have that going across my things, I'm not going to come up. I'm going to lose to somebody else. So lastly, above all, we measure it. Data is everything. We're going to run those same original prompts we started it and check where you're at now, showing up, being cited, being recommended. So the goal again is not visibility just for visibility's sake. We're being intentional. We want to make sure that the questions our direct consumer, our core customer is asking, we go where they are. And that's when your pipeline starts to shift. Now, I want to point out something real quick. This is not an overnight thing. For those who are thinking I can do this and I'm going to show up tomorrow. No, ma'am. No, sir. Think about with Pinterest. Anybody who jumped on the Pinterest game, you may have made a pin 4 years ago. I jumped on Pinterest like 10 years ago and I still get traffic to my old website. Same type of thing. We're going to think about this like interest, your savings account. I put $5 in here. And if I keep putting that $5 every month, I'm going to get dividends. Think of it that way. Same type of concept.
Oh, it's not rocket science, but it's a lot. It sounds like a lot. So if someone is listening and they want to understand like where they actually stand with AI visibility right now, what do they do? What's the first thing they should do?
The most valuable thing you can do today, I'm going to tell you the fun part. It costs nothing. We like the word free. To go to ChatGPT or Perplexity to start, because those are where the most traffic is driving, especially if you're service-based businesses, and type the question your ideal client would ask when they're looking for someone like you. Who is the best person in your category if you're regional and in that region, if not, just in that category, and see what comes back. See whose names appear. See whether yours does or not. And that gap between what comes up and what doesn't, that is your starting point, because that's what I call the AI blind spot. Most people have never looked at it, but let me tell you, once you see it, you can't unsee it because you're going to keep digging at it, thinking, okay, what do I got to do now? That is your source of, this is where I start backtracking to figure out what is my competition doing? Where are they being featured? How are they presenting themselves? Because then those are signals that are telling you, those are breadcrumbs or blues clues, as my son would say, in order to then know what you should be doing to then rank, that you're starting to see that what they're doing and how AI trusts that. And so again, I just reiterate, this is going to give the same, if you jump on this now, everyone who jumped on the early SEO back in the early 2000s, they own it now. This is the same thing. The thing is, you talked about, it's a lot, but it's not a lot, because these are things that we should have been doing anyways to build trust. We're just now being more intentional about, and the beauty about this, it's not volume based. It's consistency and making sure we are constantly putting proof. I like to say you're building your case. Think of it as you're an attorney, building your case for AI. Consistent things that have people say, yes, I can vouch for you. So for someone like me that does not care to be an influencer, half the time hate being on social media and my phone, I just want to eat and just enjoy and have my conversations with Bethany. This is music to my ears, because now you're making content that is simple. It doesn't need all the hot bops and drops in it. So there's a big, like I said, different orchestra. Your content feeds into it. PR feeds into it. Your content feeds into it. Any type of Google business profile and reviews. All those things that you should be doing anyways to show people you can do what you do. This is now ways that AI can say, yes, I can sign my name off on that person.
So if we need help, and we don't want to do all these things, I assume you have something that you can help people with?
100%. So we do have a free visibility audit. I believe I gave Caroline the link. She can drop it in the chat for me. You can start there, and that just first gives you to let you know where am I starting at. Then after there, you can email me. You can visit my website, www.precisionedgeai.com. And the bonus, Jonas, is you get to work with myself and Bethany on this aspect, because again, we have years of experience of understanding what builds true trust with your customers. You mentioned it well. We're all looking at it, like I said, with that little squinting eye, because now we're trying to figure out, okay, is this really you? Or did you just use ChatGPT to make it sound smart? That is the buffer now between you and your customers. And for someone who has built your entire, you have a whole host of people you've been presenting on this wonderful presentation. These are people who have had years of experience before even anyone knew AI was accessible. So that is what we're going to do, is make sure that you have that same accessibility, understand how we put that trust in front of your customers to bring you more leads and be able to continue to build your profile. So you're not invisible to AI. You're not invisible to your customers.
Yes, and I'm super excited to be. So Christina has a very diverse background in branding, marketing, messaging, all the things. And I used to be a website builder, SEO person. I wrote a book about it when voice was coming out and about how to be discovered on search. And I just, at the time, it seemed like it mattered. And talking about schema and structured data and all this stuff, because y'all know I'm a nerd, right? I just don't play one on TV. And now it makes sense. Like now it matters of why I was even on that path in the first place. So I am so excited because Christina and I are partnering together to make sure that we get found and our small businesses, the difference between our small businesses that change the world are whether or not they have revenue and runway. If they have to give up because they go out of business, because they don't have money, then that cure doesn't get to the market. That problem that you're trying to solve doesn't get to the market. It dies. And this is the first time in decades that there's a level playing field.
And there's something, actually, Bethany, I want to point out. I'm speaking especially to the women today who are listening in. A 2024 UNESCO study came out that says, we were talking about bias, you were talking about bias with the last presenter. AI, yes, has the biases, but there's something I realized when they did a study, anything that dealt with the word executive, business growth, anything in that arena, it leaned masculine. So if you are a woman right now and you're thinking, I got time for this, you do not, because these tools are already biased to promote a man. This is now your time to get in there to make sure your voice is at this table and that you are found in this new era of AI visibility. So I am talking to you. We no longer can be silent. We no longer can be passive about our presence in these environments. This is the time now.
Okay, so that's the end. So thank you so much, Christina, for hopping on. And Caroline will drop the link. If you have questions for Christina specifically about this, you need to follow her anyway, because she is one of the people that give and want you to know what you need to know, regardless if you hire her or not. So you will get a lot of information from what she shares on LinkedIn and on socials, because we need to know this. Like, this is not, I don't know if we're going to have another time in our lifetime where it's equal, where it's level and we can make a difference. So get on it. Like, get on it, because people are not going to sit back and not be found on AI in a minute. They're already working on it. So we have to be working on it too. So thank you. We will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. And thank you all for joining. I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye, Christina. Thank you.